Hey there, how are you? Good.
Just have to know, right?
Hey, brother, how are you?
All right. What are you doing? Hey, I don't know. Oh, man, I got it way back in Christmas. My daughter, bought a she liked those kind of around. Make me look young. Go home, let her home. If I'm in the same.
I ran home and got mine. I turned all the way back around and went back.
Oh, wow. And where you go? Thank you. Oh,
It's this club.
listen to everybody. Okay, Ms. Spratt. It's now 6 p.m. The chair will call August 17th, 2021. Fairfield County School Board meeting to order. Public have been notified, duly notified, and I do confirm the quorum. This time the chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters. Can we get a motion, please?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
make a motion, we enter executive session for personnel matters.
Chair, sir. Motion made by Ms. Harris, second by Reverend Jackson, during executive session. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That's 7. Oh, Ms. Brown. We will enter executive session, 9 to 6:30. It's time for the executive session.
You look good, how you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Give me a shortcut. Good.
We have that as an option.
Testing one.
I'm ready to send my dress.
I'm done.
How are you today?
You good, brother? FYI.
So come on, get rolling.
We'll send this names up into Mr. Stevens. Yeah, but he. And that on his time.
No,
He's standing up and talking in the hall.
go ahead.
At this time, we will entertain a motion to exit out of executive session. No actions were taken in executive session. With a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
Motion made by Dr. Harris, second by Green, come out of executive session. All in favor, so by raising the right hand. That would be 7-0. Time, just want to welcome everyone to our August 17th board meeting. We just started up school today. Ready to go. Our children, welcome them back to school. Dr. Green said it was a welcoming day. Some of the board members got around, go to some of the schools, so that was great. Welcome all the teachers. Welcome everyone on Facebook Live. At this time, we will have the pledge of allegiance for our board secretary, Mr. Harris, and a moment of silence.
Everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Right. At this time, we will motion for the approval of the agenda of April 17th, regular call school board.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we approve the agenda as pertains.
Second.
Chair, I second.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, second by Reverend Jackson, to approve the April 17th regular call board meeting, August student. That's what I said. What did I say? Everybody in August got mixed up in my mouth. Y'all please. August the 17th board meeting. as is, as presented. All in favor, show by raising of the right hand. You won't be able to see those. Things I appreciate it. I'm gonna scoot over here closer to Reverend Jackson. Huh? This time, do we have any other comment? Next, we will have our board minutes from our July 20th meeting. Could be the motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we approve the minutes from the July 20th regular call board meeting.
I second.
Board minutes, motion made by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. Davis for July the 20th board meeting 2021. All in favor, show by raising of the right hand. Thank you. Superintendent report.
Thank you, Chairman Miller, members of the board. As you stated earlier, today is the first day of the 21-22 school year. There was excitement in the air. I had an opportunity to visit all of our sites as I generally do each and every year. And understandably, a sense of anxiety with this excitement. But our young people were ready to go. Our moms and dads were ready to drop them off. Some of them have had them for the last 18 months. And so they were excited about the opportunity to drop their little young ones off at school. But in all seriousness, even though there are some additional challenges this year, we are looking forward to accomplishing some tremendous things this school year. I was just talking to Ms. Mazzanotti, I think a couple of days ago, and I haven't seen the AP scores, but she was just giving me an update on some of the AP scores, and we had some pretty good scores to come in, and she was just so impressed with our young folks' resilience. Even in the midst of this pandemic last year, they were able to remain focused and achieve some of the things that they did. And this year is going to be no different. We're going to achieve some outstanding things this year as well. Let me thank each of you who were able to attend the convocation this past Friday. I know Mr. Davis was out of town, but Mr. Davis, I told him I was going to be brief, but I wasn't too brief during my remarks. But I did my best. I always try, nevertheless. And, but we were excited with a lot of energy in the air. I was at McCord listening today. I was at Fairfield Central High School yesterday, and I ended up meeting two new teachers. Actually, one of them who replaced you was Green. And she told me, she said, I have never been to a convocation like a Fairfield County School District convocation. I've been teaching a long time, but I've never been to a convocation like a Fairfield County School District convocation. I want to let you know that it was an absolute blast, and it was so exciting. So to the new people who just joined the Fairfield family, I tell you, we made an impression upon them. They were very excited, and they have that vibe, Pastor. All right, they have that vibe. So we're looking forward to a wonderful school year. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about day one opening, but let me talk a little bit about COVID-19. Obviously, that's on the forefront of lots of minds and thoughts and mask mandates and where we're going with this new Delta strand. And I will acknowledge that we have seen somewhat of an uptick in transmissions headed into the school year. We began to see that several weeks back as we've been having cases of COVID-19 reported to us by DHEC and by some of our families. And so let's kind of tell you where we were. And this is probably as of last Thursday. So we began to get this packet together. We have had a few situations to arrive on Friday, on Monday, and even today. But but as of, I think, last Thursday, let's kind of talk about where we were. So we had 23 reported cases of COVID-19 involving students. And that is throughout the entire summer, but I'll kind of break it down by weeks. Most of that occurred over the last 4 or 5 weeks, okay? So when they initially got out for the summer break, we weren't really seeing a lot of issues. We kind of thought we were on the other side of this thing. The Delta variant emerged. We have 6 staff cases. And so one good right side of this right here is we were able to identify these cases before these individuals returned. And so as a result, we are not required to quarantine people that they have come in close contact with. Looking at kind of the weeks, as I said, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, when we started to see things begin to take a turn with student cases. You see the week of July the 12th through the 16th, we only had 1 case. And for the next 4 weeks, we have 4 cases, 6 cases, 6 cases, and 4 cases. So beginning in July, we began to, right after kind of 4th of July break and everyone started going to cookouts and this Delta variant began to emerge, we started to see an uptick. Same thing with staff cases. We started to see cases emerge at the beginning of August. You see we had 3 cases in the week of August 2nd through the 6th, another 3 cases the week of August 9th through the 13th. And I'll tell you over the last couple of days, as I said, this is after Thursday, between Friday, Monday, and today, I've probably made aware of probably 4 or 5 additional student cases, and probably 2 or 3 additional staff cases. So the Delta variant is obviously causing some concern. You probably also read some stories relative to our ability to implement a mask mandate to help mitigate the spread of COVID-19. As I discussed through the last meeting, the General Assembly passed a proposal that prohibits school districts from implementing mask mandates. But that is being challenged. We've had a couple of districts around the state who decided we were going to implement the mask mandate anyway. And then we'll just see what happens relative to the General Assembly and funding potential legal challenge. I did an interview with WFCX today, and the question was asked whether I envisioned a day when we would do something similar. And my honest answer was, if the situation becomes dire to the point that we need to, that would be my recommendation to this August body is that we take a look at it. You probably noticed where there was an upstate school who had to go from in-person instruction to totally virtual because of an uptick in COVID-19. And I think if there's an option between having to eliminate in-person instruction or transition into mask mandate, I think most of our constituents would appreciate mask mandate. And we going around the district, I'll probably say 92, 93% of the students and staff that I encountered today were wearing masks. And I anticipate that that will continue. Our community, thank goodness, has been generally compliant with our recommendation, and we are continuing to recommend, even though we are mandating that individuals wear masks, because that is the CDC and VA guidance. That this is one of the most effective measures to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. We are continuing to encourage our young people who are eligible to get the vaccine to be vaccinated. Because that is one of the most effective ways to mitigate any potential harm from COVID-19. And the numbers bear that out. Close to 90% of the people who are been hospitalized for COVID-19 have not been vaccinated. And so the numbers are on your side. Pastor Jackson.
You have any feedback from staff yet regarding the vaccination?
Yes, and so Pastor Jackson, as I said, before we left for the summer break, we did a survey with staff, and we probably had about 6 to 8% of the staff who have been vaccinated. I've heard just in conversation, several others got vaccinated throughout the course of the summer. But I don't have firm numbers. We've not done an additional survey. But obviously we'll shoot for 100%. I'm hoping we're a little better than we were before we left, based on some of the dialogue I've had with our staff members. Because I think the more people we can get vaccinated, the less likely we will begin to see transmission within our system.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you reiterate the number of days for quarantine for the children if they were diagnosed with COVID? So that
Yeah.
everyone will be.
That's a very good question. And Ms. Green, that is one thing that I have been really highlighting to students and parents. As much as we think the potential of contracting COVID-19 is the biggest disruption, I would probably say quarantine protocols have a much bigger impact than actually contracting COVID-19, because you end up quarantining a lot more people than you actually find who are positive for COVID-19. So every one person who's positive for COVID-19, that person may come into close contact with 30, 40, 50 people, and end up quarantining lots of individuals. If you come into contact with someone positive for COVID-19, based on VA protocols, you have to quarantine for 14 days. Now there are some options for a shorter quarantine period, but that requires some additional steps, masking, temperature checks, monitor symptoms, a lot of other things that you have to really depend on students or staff to really monitor. And so we are apprehensive about going over this shorter quarantine period. If you are in the household with someone who is positive for COVID-19, you have to quarantine for a minimum of 24 days. So it's the 14 days plus 10 days. And that's often kind of confusing to people, because they say, you mean to tell me my brother who has COVID-19 only had quarantine for 14 days, but because I'm in the house with my brother, I have to quarantine for 24 days. So I quarantine longer than someone who actually has a virus. And the logic is, even though it was kind of baffling to me as well, but the logic is that you may not actually become positive until this 10-day period, okay? And so the thinking is that you need to quarantine on top of the 14 days for an additional 10 days because of this period that the virus may live dormant in your system. Okay. So that is extremely important. I had the same conversation with the football team relative to the importance of them being vaccinated. And I was so excited that Coach Davis shared with me, and I hope you didn't mind that I shared this information. But they had practice on Saturday, and he told me that of the 41 players who were present at practice, 38 of them had at least one shot. And so they are on the road to almost being fully vaccinated as a football team. And if you read the news, there are some colleges that are fully vaccinated. South Carolina State, I heard, was 100% vaccinated. Ole Miss, I heard, was 100% vaccinated. I heard University of South Carolina was getting to around 85%. But the same thing I shared with Ms. Green is, in addition to contracting COVID-19, the quarantine protocol can actually just be so disruptive to the season. Okay. Yeah, that's ma'am.
So we are still gonna be taking temperatures and checking everything. And I know with the proviso money, we cannot buy anything that has to do with COVID, right? Masks, any kind of sanitation, but I know in the CARES Act, we could still purchase stuff. So are we still gonna have stuff for the employees and teachers and stuff, as far as like to sanitize their desks and hand sanitizer and stuff like that? Because I was on a call last night with Mike Fanning, and he was kind of going through and sharing stuff with us. In the Pickens County, even though they had to go virtual, he said they probably won't pull their funding because it's like temporarily. So if anybody has to go temporarily because their numbers are high, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
If your numbers are high, you gotta go virtual, so it's kind of, everything is just kind of up in the air, and I know a lot of people are still concerned about, safety. So are we still gonna provide, material for them to?
Yeah, so the first point about temperature check, I visited every school today. And probably every school I went to either had a kiosk that checked the temperature or someone did it with a handheld thermometer. So we are checking temperature. As it relates to purchasing PPE, sanitation equipment, there is no restriction even using state funding to purchase them. So the proviso doesn't prohibit you from doing that.
Okay.
Basically, what the proviso says is that you can't use state money like a mandate or mask mandate, or either if you or you have to ensure that you provide 5 days in-person instruction.
Okay.
Similar to what you try. So there are no restrictions relative to that funding. And so we are consistently offering students masks. As I said, I don't want anyone to be confused that we are encouraging people to wear masks. I was at high school earlier today, and a young man came in a little late by 9:15 and didn't have on his mask. As soon as she came through the door, someone said, "Would you like to have a mask?" He said, "Sure, I'd like to get one." And so we gonna keep offering it. They don't have to tell us, "No, I won't take one." And we will offer it that it's available, even though we are mandating.
I need some clarity on this vaccination versus, quarantine. If you are vaccinated, then what?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's some of the benefits, Mr. Miller, being vaccinated is. If you are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and you come into contact with someone who is positive for COVID-19, you don't have to automatically quarantine for 14 days. You can just monitor for symptoms, and if you don't have any symptoms, you don't have to quarantine for 14 days. Okay?
You have to quarantine at all?
You have to quarantine at all.
My doctor told me that, I'm still scared.
You have to quarantine at all.
And so, so if any of our teachers, if they're vaccinated and maybe want to come close contact with a student, that teacher don't have to be quarantined. Okay. I just want to make sure, because some people out there watching, they're listening. I want to make sure we're clear on our messages.
That's right.
Mr. Davis.
Dr. Green, I'd like to say thank you for sharing the information about the football team and the progress with the vaccination. I have a question. I don't know if we can do this as a district, but I know, we do like the registration for voters and stuff like that. If we can do something like, a vaccination drive where kids can sign up, we can have somebody at the school where they can be vaccinated.
Yeah.
To try to.
Yeah, this thing is a very good idea. As you recall, we tried to do a vaccination event before we left for the summer break. Right. And then we had lots of parents and students who were still a little apprehensive about moving forward with the vaccine. I think the climate is a little different now. I think we'll get a lot more participation because it's become a little more real. And people are beginning to see some friends and family who contracted the virus. They've been subject to some quarantining. I'll tell you what got the football team's attention is when we had to pull out of the jamboree at home because we had them come into contact with a positive case, and they were excited about playing, and they said, "Well, man, we got to sit out." And then we had to initially cancel the first game. So they said, "This is serious. I mean, this could really disrupt our season." So they got a little bit more committed to being vaccinated. And we rescheduled that first game against Blackwood for next Monday, which was initially canceled because of the quarantine protocol. So, we'll probably schedule another one of those, Mr. Davis, as we go through the year. Obviously the big concern is the students who are under 12.
Yeah.
So as much as we talk about, trying to get those vaccinated who are over 12, an overwhelming majority of our population is under 12.
Yeah.
And so even if we do a good job getting those 12 or older to be vaccinated, we still have a huge population of students who are not eligible to be vaccinated. Hence why it is so important for us to implement some kind of mass protocol. Is because that is the primary way we are protecting these students under 12 years old.
Okay, another question is, with the students that maybe in high school that may leave for lunch, how y'all handle that?
Yeah, last year we allowed them to leave for lunch as a function of COVID-19. It's just the first day, so they had to start off campus lunch privilege. But my position, and Dr. Swinton, and it'll be her ultimate call, is I support them leaving for lunch. If we gonna have everyone back full-fledged, we'll be doing everything as if it's a normal deal. I say allow the kids to leave for lunch. And so protocols won't be any different than they were on last year, Mr. Davis. I guess ultimately, if they're gonna come into contact with someone that's positive, they come in contact with them before they come to school tomorrow. So I don't know if lunch represents any greater risk, in particular some of these seniors who had to give up their lunch privilege last year because of the COVID crisis. I don't see any need for us to do the same thing in this senior class. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we will, I'll continue to monitor where we are with COVID-19. In the event that we begin to see a lot more transmission or spread or quarantine than I think is, we're comfortable with. Like I said, if we have to make some adjustments, I'll be contacting the chair and asking to convene a meeting so we can talk about what our next steps may look like. But right now, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good because most of our families are abiding by our recommendation to wear masks. I can talk a little bit about the Fairfield County School District Virtual Academy. As of today, we probably have about 170 students enrolled in the Virtual Academy. We additionally, had a hard fast deadline that has since passed. But some of our families showed up today saying I didn't know anything about the virtual application process. I'm very concerned about sending them back. So we have extended them lots of grace, Pastor Jackson, lots of grace. So we're giving them an opportunity to enroll. Mr. Dixon indicated that he probably has about another 30 or so parents who expressed interest in participating in virtual academy. We'll give them a few more days, probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something in that ballpark, to kind of finalize their decision. And we've also had a few students who were committed to being in the virtual academy who since said, can I withdraw? I was at high school today. There was a young lady whose parents had already enrolled her in virtual academy, but she was returning back to in-person instruction. And I asked her, I said, well, what happened that you decided to leave the virtual academy and come back to in-person instruction? And she said, my mom said, you gotta get out of the house. Well, they got me. My mom said, you gotta stay here another year. So she was re-enrolled. So we probably have a lot more who trying to enroll in the virtual academy than we have trying to leave the virtual academy. But we do have a population who have made a decision to go back to in-person instruction as well. I visited several classes in virtual academy, a few technical hiccups, but things were going very well. By the end of this week, as I said, we'll kind of settle down and figure out who's in and who's out and get into a routine. And for those families who are enrolled in the virtual academy, by the end of this week, we'll actually commit for a semester. So we are going to be revisiting this a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. Once you make a commitment, we're asking you to commit for a semester. And then after the end of the semester, if you feel as if you want to make a transition, we'll facilitate that at that point. Any questions about virtual academy? Okay, school opening, as I said, it was a very smooth opening. Obviously we always have a few scheduling hiccups, a few students that show up that were on the roster, some new enrollees, one or two deep in air issues. I mean, the normal kind of day one kind of issue. But it was a good day. As I said, parents and students were excited. Even though there's a little anxiety, you didn't sense lots of anxiety. You sensed lots of students excited about being in school. Some of them who had been in school are now for 18 months on them. And so they were excited about getting back to in-person instruction because they recognize that not only does that work best for them academically, but the social and the emotional and the support and the camaraderie and the connections and all of the things that occur with in-person instruction, they miss those things. Okay, and so we are very excited to have them back. And my hope and prayer is that we can keep them in that same setting throughout the course of the year. Okay, that we find a way to create the proper mitigation strategy so we don't have to have conversations about pivoting to a virtual format. But we can stay in this face-to-face environment. And the last thing I want to share, there were some questions about how we would handle employees who contracted COVID-19 during the course of the year. As you recall, there were some federal resources that covered COVID-related days for employees on last year. That has since expired. And so there's a question about, well, even though that has expired, the district still has the ability to cover COVID-related days. And initially, I communicated to the staff that if you contract COVID-19 this year, you're going to be required to use your sick days, your personal days to cover those absences. After conversation with Mr. Miller, he gave me a very good idea. I want to give credit where credit is due. And he said, well, Superintendent, what about us covering the absences for those employees who have done everything they can to mitigate the spread of COVID-19? So if they have been vaccinated, but there is still a breakthrough infection, which we understand that can happen, and the vaccine is not 100% effective, can we still cover those days? And I like that idea. And so my proposal to you is that we cover those absences of employees who contract COVID-19 if they have been vaccinated. Those employees who contract COVID-19 who have not been vaccinated will be subject to using their own personal day. So that's my recommendation is an action item. I'll wait till you get a motion.
We get a motion on that for employees that taken their, that they fully vaccinated and they can use, we will pay for their days. Okay, the ones that are not vaccinated, they would have to use their sick day.
And just clarification, Mr. Miller, for those employees who contract COVID-19, they contract. So and sometimes people say, well, what if my husband contracted COVID-19? I got point, we're saying we're gonna cover the days for employees who contract COVID-19.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we accept the superintendent recommendation to support the employees that contract COVID-19, pay them for the 14 days if they are fully vaccinated, and for the ones that are not fully vaccinated, they will have to use their personal days.
Can I get a second on that? Mr. Chair, sir.
Ms. Green had said what she didn't say.
Mr. Michaels?
I heard y'all didn't be there.
We got old. I'm sorry. Ms. Green. Motion made by Ms. Harris, second by Reverend Jackson. Questions? Any questions on that?
So Dr. Green, so they do the teachers and stuff, the staff, they understand that process, have it been explained to them?
No, so Ms. Anderson, this is brand new off the press.
Okay.
Okay, and so I've not shared this with anyone, other than my cabinet, that I was gonna propose this today.
Okay.
If it is passed, I will communicate it. And I suspect that may be incentive for some people who say, well, I need to get vaccinated. I'm not sure how we would respond to it, but if it were me, even though I'm fully vaccinated, that would probably get my attention.
Mr. Chairman, yes, Dr. Green.
What if, I'm just concerned about the perception that those who have not been vaccinated will perceive that they're being penalized because they elected not to get the vaccination. And then those individuals that did get the vaccination are getting quote unquote perceived special treatment. How would we address that?
Yeah, so that's a very good point, Dr. Harris. What I would say is, I don't look at it as if they are being penalized. The people who've been vaccinated are being rewarded.
Yeah.
And just as districts are offering financial incentive for individuals who have been vaccinated, if you look around, there are multiple districts offering $200, $300, $400 bonus for people who can prove they've been vaccinated. It is a reward for people who have been vaccinated. So I would say it's not a penalty if you haven't been vaccinated, but it is truly an incentive and a benefit for those who have been vaccinated. But I suspect some will look at it from that perspective. And I had some questions about. Matter of fact, one of my administrators emailed me over the weekend and said, should we consider doing some kind of financial incentive for people who get vaccinated? Should we look at that? And I said, well, obviously there's some districts who are doing it, and maybe it'll work. But we have a different idea that we think may incentivize more people to get vaccinated. So I'm prepared to answer that question, Dr. Harris, but I suspect someone will present that.
Any more questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Steve.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
how would this affect someone who has a medical reason that they cannot get vaccinated? And do we have any legal opinion from our attorneys as to whether this is totally legal?
Yeah. Also, very good question, Mr. Siebel. I've already communicated this to the attorneys. They feel as if we are on sound legal footing to implement such a thing, because we are not discriminating against any protected class. I would say it would be no different, Mr. Siebel, than any district who says we're going to offer a financial incentive for any employee who's going to be vaccinated. And so if the district says, or we said, we're going to pay $500 for everyone who's vaccinated, if you said, I'm not being vaccinated because of health reason, religious reason, whatever the case may be, then you still aren't eligible for $500. Okay, so it will be no different. So if someone says, hey, I can't get vaccinated, or I won't get vaccinated because of these reasons, we respect that decision. Yeah. We're just saying you aren't eligible to have your days covered.
Mr. Chair, Dr. Green, for the ones that they get personally won't, but may get real sick from it that has not been vaccinated and will be out more than the days that they have to cover. Do we still have like the sick bank or anything that they can use somebody else's day? Because there may be a case where they may not have but so many days and they may have to be out longer, they may be hospitalized, so, and they won't have any days, so how do we handle that?
Yes, that's an excellent question, Ms. Harrison. And we do have a sick bank. Unfortunately, we have lots of people who elect not to participate in the sick bank. I don't know what the numbers are, but Ms. Sal presented this as leadership team during our leadership retreat. Our numbers were relatively low as relates to employees who want to participate in the sick bank. And we're only asking you to give up, I think, 2 days, 1 day. They actually give up 1 day. And so you give up 1 day, and then that makes you eligible in the event that you run into situations similar to what you just described. And so, I'm hoping that our sick bank numbers begin to pick up. When is the enrollment in for the sick bank?
I believe it's September 1.
September 1. Okay, so we will continue to encourage people to participate in the sick bank because it provides them the opportunity in the event that something that happens, they potentially could be covered.
Superintendent, it's just an incentive for folks to really go get vaccinated. We need to get vaccinated and to protect their families.
You know, and I think this is consistent with what lots of organizations are doing. My daughter from Clemson was talking about the incentive that they're offering students at Clemson University who are vaccinated, eligible to receive reduced tuition and cash awards and all kinds of different things. University of South Carolina is doing the same, providing incentive for people to be vaccinated. And if someone said, well, I'm not eligible because I didn't get vaccinated and it may be a valid reason, you just aren't eligible for the incentive. I mean, that's, we appreciate that, but you aren't eligible for the incentive. So I don't really see it, much different than any of the other incentives, quite honestly, that other school districts and other entities are providing for people who get vaccinated. Ohio had a vaccine lottery. It said that if you got vaccinated, we put your name in the lottery and you can win $1 million. And I guess, someone could say, well, I want to be eligible for $1 million, but I couldn't get it because of my health. Well, we can understand that. You just won't be in the lottery. And so, I mean, there are lots of different incentives that are out there. And for those individuals who can't be vaccinated, we respect, or won't be vaccinated, we respect your individual circumstances. But I don't think that should preclude us from offering incentive.
No question. All in favor? For Senate, show by the raising of the right hand. We have 7. Thank you. Thank you. You got anything else, Dr. Lee? This time, Dr. Avery.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For your approval this evening is the approval of the 2021-2022 instructional materials textbooks, district selection recommendations for mathematics adoption. For your approval or adoption of the following textbooks for calculus, advanced placement calculus, AV/BC, pre-calculus, probability and statistics, advanced placement statistics. And these textbook selections have been on display in our main lobby here at the district office since July. And we also received feedback from the high school mathematics chair, along with the mathematics teachers from Fairfield Central High School.
Let me say this right here. Dr. Avery, and Dr. Etheridge, your whole team, y'all are experts in this. I'm not. I don't know about nobody else but yet. Y'all know more about this than I do. Okay, so in saying that, let's make a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we approve the instructional materials textbook district selection recommendation for adoption for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Harris, second by Mr. Davis. Have any questions? Comments? All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. Yeah, 7.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Avery. Mr. Robinson, finance.
Good evening. In the board package under operations and finance, only one item this evening, and that's the finance report for the month of July, first month of the fiscal year. So there's not a lot of activity, but the report is presented for your information.
Any other questions for Mr. Robinson?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Robin, you still think we gonna be the shortfall that you thought we was gonna be in? Or-
Hopefully it won't be as bad, but right now we're still trying to close out the year. I know we'll still have a shortfall. It's just a matter of how much, and right now it's mid-August, so it's gonna take us through September to go through everything. The auditors will come in, and so sometime in October, we should have a much clearer picture of the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
More questions for our finance director? Thank you, Ms. Love. HR, Ms. Sower.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This evening under Human Resources, you have two items. Item 1, certified resignations and terminations. In exhibits 1A, 1B, and 1C, the superintendent recommends the board approve certified resignations and terminations for the 2021-22 academic year. Please note that item 1C, exhibit 1C requires a special motion.
Get a motion?
Do 1A and 1B together. Yeah.
First.
Okay. Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a recommendation, the board approve certified resignation termination for the 2021-22 academic year in exhibit 1A and 1B.
I say,
Motion been made by Ms. Harris, second by Mr. Davis. Certified recommendation for 1A and 1B. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That would be 7. Next.
For exhibit 1C, Mr. Chair, I move that a formal complaint be sent on behalf of the board to the State Board of Education, requesting the appropriate action be taken against a professional employee of Fairfield County School District, employee number 1, who pursuant to South Carolina Code and notated section 59-25-230 breached their individual employment contracts with the district by failing to return to work.
Motion made by Ms. Harris, second by Mrs. Green. Ms. Green. Yes.
Won't speak up.
21-22. See, all in favor? Somebody raise their right hand. That would have 7. Oh, thank you.
Certified recommendations is item 2. The superintendent recommends the board approve certified professional educators for the 2021-22 academic year. This is presented in exhibits 2A and 2B.
Both of them.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a recommendation, the board approve certified professional education takers for the 2021-22 academic year, 2A, exhibit 2A and exhibit 2B.
I say,
Motion made by Ms. Harris. The 21-22 year, 2A to B, and second by Mr. Davis. All in favor, show by the raising of the right hand. That would be 7 of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soul. All right. We have come down now to our board's report. I just want to know that on will be August the 28th, we will school law conference in Austin, South Carolina. Go learn the different school laws that's just, they're ever changing. Myself, Ms. Harris, Dr. Harris, and Ms. Green will be going along with the superintendent. He will be, as they call him, he's speaking at this that meeting. Also, anybody have any things doing it for report? I got any? Any other announcements?
Well, I told Dr. Green and, Mr. Miller that I was selected to be on the advisory board at DJJ. So I will be doing orientation Thursday morning. But it was like filling out an application for a job. And a serious background check. So I had actually forgot when they invited me to participate in Zoom. And then they asked me, will I, be on the advisory board? So I did complete the application, but I actually forgot about it because it took so long, but I guess they have to do an extensive background check. I guess I checked out. I get my ID Thursday.
Doc, you have anything else?
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. You know, I want to acknowledge Ms. Thomas, who is our reigning teacher of the year. And I had an opportunity to visit the high school, Friday, I can't remember what day it was, might have Monday. Monday, and I told Ms. Thomas that I heard a lot of teacher of the year speeches.
She was good.
I got a lot of teacher of the year speeches, but I tell you, that was one of the best I've ever heard.
She was good.
She almost inspired me to say that.
With crystal.
I mean, I wanted the muscle tune there. I can't see. So she was so good, she almost got me to say what I got up there. But thank God I didn't do it. But she was, it was impressive. And you know, this is what I tell people is that when you are in the run for teacher of the year, you're a finalist, so you aren't sure whether you're gonna win or not. Right. And so you have to just kind of prepare remarks when you get that you win. Okay. So most people say, well, I'm not gonna put that much time into preparing remarks because I may not win. But she obviously didn't take that approach. I mean, she spent some time really developing her thoughts, and she did an excellent job of doing her acceptance speech, and has done an excellent job. Period. Being a math instructor at Fairfield Central High School, and really leading the STEM College Academy. You know, and all of our dual credit opportunities. She really uncovered some things that me and Dr. Swiller hadn't even observed. Through her diligence and hard work. So she has been a valuable member of the team. And I, you know, once again, I'm impressed with Dr. Swiller for being able to recruit her because she was working in I won't call the district's name, but she was working in another district. And Dr. Swiller encouraged her to come and join the Fairfield family. And she was sold on the idea and has been there ever since. And so we appreciate her willingness to come and join the Fairfield family, and I'm glad to have her on board. I want to acknowledge Ms. Thomas for just doing an outstanding job over the last several years, and she will be an excellent representative for the office.
Mr. Chair,
Excellent.
I just want to say, Dr. Green, you had a lot of good candidates up there, so I don't know who is responsible for choosing me, but I know they had a hard task, and you have some excellent teachers of the year.
You know, but I always tell people that, you know, when I was teaching, I never won teacher of the year. I mean, you win teacher of the year at your school level, and then you compete at the district level. And so they are far exceeded anything I have been able to accomplish myself. Because that says so much when you are nominated and elected as a teacher of the year in your respective district. And so all of those individuals are absolute winners. Because if you are nominated, you are representing your school. That says that your peers, your colleagues think that you are the best of the best. And so that's the thing, and I don't have any shame saying I never got that now. I told a lot of people that I was a teacher of the year. So we acknowledge all of them for being recognized as the school level teachers of the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any more? Can we get a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn. I was gonna go in executive session.
Motion made by
Eric, second by Mr. Davis, all in favor, show by raising the right hand. That's meeting adjourned.
I think they doing it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank goodness we don't have that.
I know that.
Huh?
Do we give you these papers back?
So you finished with your
Presentation.
Let's get on.
I be on the advisory. board. We Yeah, they, Steve Bishop on that thing with you, but I guess.
Oh, so that's not for Winslow, that's for
They just invite you to come. They were really good. Some of them, they had some stories, and so you hear a lot of bad stuff, you know, and stuff.
Exactly.
And so, then they said,